Ever stop to think how much those little impulse buys on your phone are adding up to, and how many subscription payments are sneaking out of your bank account every single month? Before I started using Rocket Money, let me tell you, I had no idea. But the first time I logged in, I saved $435. I couldn't believe it. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. I just love the dashboard. It shows everything in one place, even the subscriptions you forgot you signed up for. And if there's something you don't need, Rocket Money helps you cancel it. Plus, it alerts you if a bill increases or if something unusual pops up in your account. It's basically like having a personal assistant for your money. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Kim today. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. rocketmoney.com/Kim.
Hey, welcome to the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of April 8th, 2023. Another fantastic show in store, and let's get started with hour one.
All right, I always like to begin with something great, and the Masters is going on right now in Augusta, Georgia. This is a big deal in golf. Okay, the tournament was first held in 1934, and it's been played every year since, except during World War II. And if you're one of the 40,000 people who are actually going to the Masters tournament, or one of the 10 million folks who are watching it at home, there is one thing that you can't bring, and there's one thing that you won't see on the fairways. Do you know what that is? It's a cell phone. Yep, all phones are banned. They put a bank of phones you can use by the entrance, and that you can also use these for free. Now, one guy was banned for life because he actually brought in a cell phone to the Masters in 2017. Wow. You know, I play golf. I'll tell you, I'm not very good. But I once did get a hole-in-one playing at the Arizona Biltmore Golf Course in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'll tell you, I find the whole idea of golf off-putting. Yes. And on that happy note, welcome. I know, it wasn't that bad. It really was not that bad. But I promise you, they will get better as the show continues. And on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this. It's America's biggest show about all things digital, your most trusted source. And of course, you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top radio stations throughout the United States. And we're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Komando, with a K, of course. And you can find us as a podcast, a webcast, commercial-free over at getkim.com. Yes, I did say commercial-free over at getkim.com. And our show is also available on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 U.S. service members, serving in 175 countries and 200 ships at sea. Get the Kim Komando Show. And of course, you have a few questions about something digital I can lend a hand to. And that's why our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're just too dang shy to come on a big show and podcast, I totally get that. You can drop me your questions over on the website. That's Komando.com. And in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. All right. Every single day, I check out at least 30 different websites to make sure that you're in the know about all things digital. And this is part of the show where I like to talk about the tech news and what's going on. And if you're wondering if ChatGPT is coming for your job, let's go directly to AI and ask it. So there's a Chicago-based outplacement company by the name of Challenger, Gray & Christmas, and they specialize in finding jobs for those folks who have been recently laid off. So the company asked ChatGPT, what jobs can ChatGPT replace? Well, the chatbot immediately took out the chance to spew out a list of everything that it says that it can do better than humans, starting with customer service reps, translators like the ones working at the United Nations, interpreters, technical writers, copywriters, data entry clerks. It also said that it excels in the data sciences, things like weather forecasting, statistical analysis, and just automating so many jobs that now require humans. ChatGPT is expected to replace 5 million American workers this year. Wow. This is real. It's serious. And if you have one of the jobs that I mentioned, you just need to come up with your plan B like right now. All right. Number 2 on our list of 5 things. Is there a doctor in the AI? All right. Googling your medical symptoms often leads to greater worry or anxiety. But research has shown that a lot of times when you Google your medical symptoms that you actually come up with the right diagnoses. But what about ChatGPT? Well, researchers at the University of Maryland Medical School asked ChatGPT to answer 25 common questions about breast cancer. Now, most of the answers were fairly accurate. But, and this is a big but, doctors found that about 10% of the time, ChatGPT actually made up fake medical journals to support its unproven claims. And a lot of the information was outdated because, well, ChatGPT doesn't have the latest data. It only goes up to 2021. So the bottom line here is that if you feel that something's wrong, ChatGPT can't beat a real doctor with a real appointment. That's right. All right, number 3 on our list is facial ID at the bar is a no-go. The violent criminals in New York, they have this deadly scheme up their sleeves. You really have to listen to this. And if you have kids that are going to the bars or you're going to the bars, just pay attention because it involves your phone's facial ID and date rape drugs. It goes down like this. You're at a club or bar. Someone offers you up some illicit stuff, say, hey, it's going to be a good time. And you take it, but then you black out. And then that's when the criminals make their move. They use your facial ID to open your phone and then wipe your bank account clean. And these thieves, they don't care if you live. They don't care if you die. One victim, John Umberger, was found dead in his townhouse after leaving a bar with 2 men. In his autopsy, they found a deadly mix of drugs in his system, lidocaine, ethanol. His phone and his credit cards were stolen. $25,000 just vanished from his bank account. So a group of men have been indicted for his death, but this is a big problem. So to stay safe when you're out and about, don't open your phone. Don't pull your phone out because you could be targeted if a criminal just sees that you have a really expensive new phone. Next on our list, number 4, Netflix. It's not all about chilling, folks. If a loved one passed away, would you delete their Netflix profile? Now, someone on Reddit posted this question this past week, and I thought it was really interesting. It got loads of answers like, I still haven't deleted my husband's profile or taken it over. It's been almost 1.5 years. My mom's been gone almost 3 years. I haven't deleted any of her Netflix profiles. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to. In today's world, as we pass on, we have all kinds of digital memories. And it's an interesting situation. I mean, what about this Netflix profile? If you want to get rid of it, maybe you just want to take some screenshots of the movies that they watched, and maybe it'll make you feel good to know that they watched this movie. And actually, I'm going to be writing a USA Today column about this within the next 2 weeks, about things that you might want to preserve digitally when someone passes on. And last, this, coming in at number 5. Okay. When my son Ian was born, I wanted to give him a leg up in the digital world. So I bought him his own domain name. And that was over 20 years ago. Wow, time flies, doesn't it? Just recently, the New York Times reported on a father who created an email account for his daughter while she was still in the delivery room. So when you think about it, that email account is actually older than she is by a few hours. So as more babies are born, more email domain names and social media handles are going to be snatched up. And it's common right now for parents to go out and grab these domain names. And so if you're having trouble, just keep in mind that maybe you might want to use the kid's nickname. And I recently read that the popular baby names are now hashtag and like. Wow, could you imagine naming your kid, hey, hashtag, come over here. Like, come over here. Okay. Man, I'm telling you, good thing they changed it because the hashtag used to be called a pound. And so if it was like pound me too, that would be sending definitely the wrong message. All right, coming up in our digital privacy tips, some normal things that you do are probably putting you in danger. Also, later on, some signs that your phone may have a virus on it. And of course, we have all of your phone calls coming up, and you have me, Kim Commando. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you haven't tried out our new newsletters, oh, come on, commando.com/subscribe. I will tell you this past week, we had almost 10,000 likes and only 450 people said, I don't like the newsletter. I don't like change. All right, commando.com/subscribe. All right, take a moment and think, what is your constant companion? No, it's not your dog or your cat or your ferret. It's your smartphone, of course. I mean, and the cell phone has revolutionized everything that we do, how we work, how we communicate, our relationships. Now, every great invention has a beginning. And this past week, oh my gosh, it happened. The 50th anniversary of the mighty cell phone. And we have the privilege and the honor here on the Kim Commando Show to speak to one of its inventors, Marty Cooper. And here's a little fun tidbit. Marty's the first person to ever make a call. Isn't that amazing? Hey there, Marty.
Hi, Kim. Great to talk to you again.
Thank you. I have to tell you a funny story. So you were talking to Maddie, and she's one of our content producers, and she helps put together the show. And Maddie was so cute, Marty, because she came into my office, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I just got a call on my cell phone from the inventor of the cell phone. I have to tell my parents."
Yeah.
I thought that was so great. So bring us back to that day of the first call.
Well, we're talking about 1973. These were really primitive times, Kim. If you could imagine, there were no personal computers. The internet had not been invented. No digital cameras.
Oh, gosh, that's right.
Yeah. And the reason that we made this phone in the first place was with the Bell system. Do you remember you're much too young to remember the Bell system.
Actually, I'm not. I think, because I don't know if you remember last time we spoke, I told you about my mom that she worked at Bell Labs.
Oh.
And then we had all these different Bell systems. There was Mountain Bell and Southern Bell, right? Rocky Mountain Bell. I mean, yeah. It was just kind of crazy.
But they were all one company, the biggest company in the world, and they were a monopoly. And they were, whenever you wanted a new technology, they decided what you want, not the way we do it when we have competition where the consumer makes a decision. The Bell system did. And Bell Labs did come up with a new concept called cellular in 1947. Could you imagine? And they didn't decide they were going to do anything until 1969. And by 1973, the FCC, this is our government, was going to decide whether they were going to be a monopoly for cellular or whether it was going to be competitive. And the Bell system's definition, their vision of cellular was car telephones. Could you believe that? You know, we've been in our homes and our offices by that copper wire for 100 years, and now we're going to be trapped in our cars, and we at Motorola just didn't believe that. We thought the time was ready to have the freedom to be anywhere when you wanted to make a phone call. So
100%.
I decided that the only way that we were going to persuade people that this was the right way to go was to give them a demonstration, actually show them this freedom instead of just talking about it on a piece of paper. So we decided to do a demonstration in New York, another one in Washington. The New York one was the very first phone call was supposed to be on the Today Show in the morning. By the way, I was on the Today Show yesterday, 2 days ago.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great.
Your show is much more important, Kim. So,
thank you. I agree.
And I got a call in the morning saying, "Well, you got bumped. The cell phone is not as important as something else." And so they found a reporter that would interview me, and I told them I want to do this on the street, so you could really demonstrate the freedom that we could just walk around everywhere. And there I am on the streets of New York, 6th Avenue and 54th Street, in front of the Hilton. And I had to decide who to call for this demonstration. And it just occurred to me, I'm going to call the guy in the Bell system who's my counterpart.
I love that. I call your competitor.
So I reached in my back pocket and pulled out my phone book. Does that give you an idea of what primitive times these were, Kim? So, I called Joel, and amazingly he answered, not his secretary. And I said, "Joel, it's Marty Cooper." He says, "Hi, Marty." I said, "Joel, I'm calling you on a cell phone, but a real cell phone, a personal, handheld, portable cell phone." You can see I was not averse to rubbing it in a little. Joel was polite to me. I don't think he thought we were very important at all. He doesn't remember that call. He doesn't dispute that I made it, but I don't blame him for forgetting. But that really was the very first public cellular telephone call.
Yeah, I think that's so great because here Joel is saying, you know what, we are going to come out with the car phone because people are going to be in their cars all the time and they're wasting time when they're driving and they could be having business calls and phone calls and talking to their parents and their kids. not thinking that, hey, you know what, we want more freedom than that. So Marty, how much did this phone weigh? Because was it the Dynatech?
Yeah, phone weighed 2.5 pounds. Well, we called it a Dynatech because we're a bunch of engineers, but Dynatech stands for Dynamic Total Area Access. And would you believe we're almost there? We almost have total area access now. There's still a lot of places in this country where you can't make a cell phone call, but almost everywhere you can. And it really is dynamic. It does change just to you wherever you are. And fortunately, the FCC, when they had to make a decision about a monopoly versus competition, thank goodness they made the right decision, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, because, with competition comes innovation. And we always want to innovate because, as I always say, and Marty, whenever I say this in a staff meeting, everybody just cringes. But I always tell them, you know what, if we don't innovate, we are going to evaporate. So we need to keep innovating and keep moving forward. Marty, thank you so much for spending time with us. Really appreciate it.
Let me write that down. If we don't innovate, we evaporate.
Evaporate. Yes.
Did you make that up? I'll have to give you credit for it when I use it in my speech.
Yes, I did. I made that one up myself. Yeah, I did.
That's great. Kim, thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm happy to be here anytime.
I just love Marty. He's always such a gem, and God bless him. Marty Cooper is 95 years young. Isn't that amazing? All right. I always like to pass along these great tips. And let's say you're creating these stunning videos, the presentations, professional level graphics on your computer. But then comes that moment of truth. You need to send it. And it's like, oh, no, the file's too big. I'm having trouble sharing it. So what do you do if the file's too big to email? A couple of things. Maybe you want to use a file transfer service like WeTransfer. You go to the website, you upload the video, the presentation, whatever it is, and then enter your buddy's email address. And then WeTransfer will send that person an email with a link to download the video. Now, another way is to compress the file. We've been doing this for so many years. You can use WinZip or 7-Zip, and it shrinks the file so it may be easier to send over email. Now, let's get those large files out of your email for good, though. Please use Dropbox or Google Drive. This is also a great option if you want to share it with multiple people. You just upload the file to Dropbox or Google Drive and then share the link with anybody that you want. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls as well as some normal things that are causing you big tech problems here on the Kim Komando Show. Hey. All right, before we go back to all of your phone calls, and we have a great tip about totally normal things that you're doing in your tech life that's actually putting you in danger. This is actually really cool because it's springtime and you step outside, you're probably hearing birds everywhere. Now, it's been estimated that there are over 10,000 different bird species. Now, each one has its own unique sound. Some have multiple calls and songs, and some even have different sounds when they're, doing the thing that birds do. So thanks to modern tech, there are some apps that you can put on your device that will identify the birds. Like the first one up is called Merlin Bird ID. I've talked about this one before. It's from Cornell's Lab of Ornithology, and with it you can record bird sounds and compare them in the app's database, and you get suggestions for possible matches. Another one up is called BirdNet. They say that they're using AI to identify birds. And then finally, iBird Pro, you can listen to recordings of bird sounds, and then you can get details on the species. And so once again, it's Merlin Bird ID, BirdNet, or iBird Pro. All right, Brenda in Nashville, Tennessee.
Hello there.
Welcome. What's going on?
Well, I had a stroke. I shouldn't have said that.
It's okay, Brenda. Don't you cry. Don't you cry. I'm not going to let you cry. It's okay. I'm your friend, and I want to help you.
Thank you.
Okay, so just tell me how I can help you, what I can do, and what kind of questions you have.
Yeah, I need a work from home job.
Okay.
I'm not too computer literate. I'm not too good on the computer. And I looked at proofreading from home, and all they send me is garbage. And they put me on this merry-go-round, and I never do get any information.
Okay. All right. So you need to work at home, and you don't have to be a computer whiz to work at home, okay? And there are things
Right.
there are things that you can do, all right? And I trust you, and I believe in you, and I know that you can do this. But I want to make sure that wherever you go, whatever job you're looking at, is that it's a legitimate one. And just know you shouldn't have to pay anybody to do anything, okay? And don't fall
That's what I thought too. Yeah.
Okay, don't fall for any scams.
Exactly.
Okay, so what kind of experience do you have in your life that you've done?
Well, I started out as a paralegal, but we did not use computers.
Okay.
And I was a self-storage manager.
Okay.
That was the last job I had, and I had several in between, but none of them ever required computer use. I mean, much. I didn't do much.
Okay.
As a self-storage manager,
Okay.
I generated reports by pushing a couple buttons,
Okay. See, a lot of these work-at-home jobs, they do require computer skills. They do. And
Okay.
so if you wanted to be a customer service rep and you handle emails or do chat support, I mean, you do have to have a computer. You have to be pretty good at it. If you have strong writing skills, you could be a blogger. I know a real estate blogger was making a lot of money just writing real estate, I guess, ads, you'd say. You could be a transcriptionist, and you said you did some data entry. You could do a data entry. But before we get...
No, I don't believe I ever did that.
Oh, I thought you said, well, with the self-storage, maybe you put some, you put some stuff into some forms. That's what I was thinking.
Yes, that's true, yes.
Okay, so you worked with customer information. So what we want to do, though, is I think first we need to do is to make sure that we get your skill set up, okay? And you have somebody who can be with you, and then to get you at a place in your head and also in your physical, so that this way you're going to approach any job that you get with full confidence that you're going to be able to do this, all right? And I believe that you can.
Right.
I can tell because you're motivated. If you weren't motivated, then I wouldn't even be talking to you. But I can tell that you're motivated to get your life to the next spot, okay? So what I'd like to do is to figure out, let me do some research, and let me see if there are some places in Nashville that can offer you some good training and to get you at a spot where you'd be able to really participate and get one of these jobs. And then I want to help you to the next level, and that is, let me see if I can help you find an opportunity. Okay.
Okay.
Now, what kind of computer do you have now, Brenda?
Right now, we only have an ancient Toshiba laptop.
Okay. All right. So here's what I'm going to do for you, Brenda. I'm going to buy you a modern laptop, and I'm going to send it to you. Okay? Because
my goodness.
For any of these jobs that we're talking about, you're going to need to have, you can't have an ancient Toshiba because that's just not happening. Okay? So we'll figure.
It takes 10 minutes to do anything.
No, we'll send you a nice laptop to get you started. And then I'm also going to do some research off to the side about some places in Nashville that can offer you some one-on-one training. And then we'll take it to the next level, and that is, let's figure out what kind of job would be the best job for you. Because, Brenda, I'm here with you. I'm your friend. I'm going to help you. And I know you can do this, girlfriend. I know you can. So hang on the line, and we've got to get all your information so this way we can send you out that free laptop, and we're going to get this party started and changing your life around. And thank you for your call. So often here on the show, I wish I could just jump through and give a person a hug. And Brenda, let me tell you, here's your virtual hug. Thank you for your call today. All right. So what are the normal things that you're doing every single day that actually could put you in danger? Okay. Number one, you answer the phone and you say, hello. I know. It's like, what happened here? Okay. Let the other person say hello first, because now with AI and deep fakes, the criminals only need about 3 seconds of your voice in order to create a deep fake of your voice. And then who knows next that maybe your grandson is calling you saying that he needs money, or your daughter. And you're like, what? Kind of sounds like them? Yeah. Maybe you're sharing harmless photos and videos online. Well, you know what? Maybe you're doing it the wrong way, and you're actually sharing it out with the entire world. So over on the website, we have the tips to make sure that only the people who you want to see, your tweets, your photos, your Facebook posts, or whatever, that those are the ones who can only have access to that. Next is preview a document. What's that? Okay, using the Windows preview pane on malicious documents can actually infect your computer. So what you want to do is make sure that you have the latest update for Windows 10 or Windows 11, because this way you're totally covered for that. So this is some important information. And if you feel the need to share it with other people in your family, we make it super easy. Just head over to commando.com, and then there's a link that says Kim Show, and that's exactly where you'll find this tip. And from there, you can share it out on your social, via email, any way that you have it, because you want to share this stuff. Knowledge is power. I say it all the time. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls, as well as later on we have a great tip about, does your phone have a virus? And what are the telltale signs that maybe a criminal, a scammer, or a stalker is getting a copy of every single thing that you do on your phone? That's still to come here on the Kim Komando Show. Now, we talk a lot about artificial intelligence here on the show, especially with ChatGPT. So I decided this past week to submit some photos to an AI engine and have it create some headshots. Well, a lot of them were okay. A lot of them were weird. One of them came back and it looked like I was a guy. And I'm like, well, and I showed it to Barry. He's like, as a guy, you're really not a bad looking guy. I'm like, well, thank you, I guess. Anyway, one of the photos that I posted over on Instagram looks like I am an alien with a hand going into my cheek. So in case you want to check that out, head over to Instagram.com/Kim Komando. And while you're there, do a big follow for me too. So this way, every time I put something out on Instagram, that you totally see it. That's Instagram.com/Kim Komando. All right, back to the phones we go with Kevin in Bristol, Tennessee.
Hello, Kim. Love the show. Thanks for all you do and learning many things from you. I had a question about, I'm getting ready to retire in a couple of years. I'm looking for a means of some supplemental income. And on the social media, I've seen people mention different things like affiliate marketing and other things like that. They call them side hustles, what they call them. And I was wondering if there's a way I could check to see the authenticity of those type things.
Oh, this is a really big question, Kevin. Because I've never really run across any one of them that I thought was like, wow, this is really great.
Right.
Because these side hustles with affiliate marketing, basically you need to have a lot of traffic to make any money in affiliate marketing. You need to have it. So let's focus, instead of these books and seminars and YouTube videos about ways that you could make money in your sleep. What are you doing now?
I'm still working full time, and I'm a custodian.
Okay. And then how much money are you looking to make?
Really just extra cash for travel and that type of thing. Nothing in particular.
Are you in pretty good shape?
Fairly good, yes, ma'am.
All right. I'm going to tell you about some jobs that you can do that don't require buying a kit or going to a seminar, a book, or whatever, webinar, whatever it may be. Like, for example, there's a couple of places. One's called TaskRabbit, and another one is called Field Agent. Okay. With TaskRabbit and Field Agent, you become an agent or a tasker. Okay. And the task can be anything. You could assemble IKEA furniture. You could do somebody's grocery shopping. You could help them move. You could help them organize and clean out a garage, help planning a party, whatever it may be. But somebody needs a task. Putting a tire on a car. Okay. I actually put this app on my phone, TaskRabbit, and it said, "Hey, you're at CVS. Would you like a task?" And I'm like, sure, why not? So I opened up my phone and it asked me to take a picture of the laundry detergent display. And for that, I made $15.
Wow.
Okay? So awesome. You become the controller of your own destiny. So what happens is people put these jobs out there, and then it's up to you to say, yes, I can do that, or no, I'm not interested. I'd like to go do something else. Okay. There's also a third site that I'd like to say about called Thumbtack. Now, Thumbtack is it works the same way, but there are custodians, there are painters, roofers, pet sitters. You know, if somebody is remodeling their home, you know, maybe they need some help with that. So, but this kind of fits more in your wheelhouse than doing internet affiliate marketing that you're not an expert at.
Right.
Right. And
sounds great.
And so here are three. You want to look at Thumbtack, you want to look at TaskRabbit, and then you want to look at Field Agent. And we have links to all of these over at Komando.com, which, by the way, if you're looking for a legit work at home opportunity, we've done a lot of work on this. And just search for work at home over on the website. That's Komando.com. You know, one of the things that I want to stress with any of these work from home jobs is that you actually do need to apply. You do need to work. You do need to make sure that you follow through and get good ratings. And, you know, you think about it, there's no free rides in life, folks. I mean, well, maybe there is one. What is a wind turbines side hustle? What is a wind turbine side hustle? Anyone? You ready for it? OnlyFans. Oh, I know. That was pretty bad. Hey, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for all your kind words with our new newsletters. We've been spending a lot of time, effort, energy. It's been a piece of the business that we never really paid attention to other than we just kept putting out these newsletters, sending 20 million of them every single month. And then in January, I went to the team and I said, we need to do this better. We need to do this much better. And we are knocking it out of the ballpark. I mean, your ratings and your reviews and your kind words speak so kindly. And I do read every single one. So if you maybe used to get our newsletters and you stopped, well, check us out again. Head over to Komando.com/subscribe. That's Komando.com/subscribe. I know you're really going to love it. And if you are loving the newsletters, make sure that you tell a few folks about them too. Just forward it on to them and say, hey, you should subscribe too. All right, let's talk about whether or not your phone has a virus, because let's think about it. It has everything on it. All your financial information, your identity, your banking apps, everything's just all tucked in there. And the bottom line, it's a cyber crook's target because it's for viruses, Trojans, malware, spyware, adware, ransomware. That's all badware. They just want to get it on your phone. So here's how to spot if something malicious is lurking on your phone. And we're going to start with number one. It's a sudden surge in data that could mean that malicious software is installed. Next up, you start seeing some charges on your bill or in the App Store that you can't explain. Maybe you've been hacked. Number three on our list, pop-ups. Yeah, those are often used by hackers and scammers to try to trick you into downloading this malicious software. Next up, number four, maybe you are noticing some apps that you didn't install. They could have been put on your phone without your knowledge. And number five, battery drain. If your phone is dying faster than usual, it could be that some software is using up your phone's resources. And that means that it's time to do a backup and a complete factory reset, which I know is not fun at all. And for great content on the go, be sure that you get my podcast and search for Komando wherever you get your podcasts. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise, home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim.
It's the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of April 8th, 2023. We appreciate you being a Komando community member, and here's hour two.
I always like to begin with something interesting. And if you got money from Google this past week, Google says you can keep it. Now, apparently there were bounties to be paid to some developers who worked with Google Pay. And something totally glitched out. Google sent money to who knows how many people, anywhere from a few bucks to thousands of dollars. And then Google tried to get the money back. And they could, but only if you didn't spend it already. And in case that happens, Google says, well, you have a gift. Thank you. I'm like, oh, wow, how come I didn't get any money from Google? But I started thinking about this. Google's app management platform is called Google Play. And then we start talking about Google Navigation. Instead of Maps, it should be called Google Way, right? I mean, wouldn't that make sense? I don't know. And on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's called the Kim Komando Show because I am America's beloved digital goddess here with you once again. It's the nation's largest show about all things digital, your most trusted source, and you can find our award-winning show on over 425 top radio stations throughout the United States. And we're streaming in your favorite radio app, and you can get us commercial-free as a podcast, as a webcast, over at getkim.com. And a special shout-out goes to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries. And as always, if you're just too shy, you can send me a note on the website with your questions. Just head over to commando.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. All right, every single day I visit at least 30 different websites to make sure that you're up to date on all things digital. And this is part of the show where I like to talk about consumer tech, pass along 5 things that you need to know about it. Well, let's go back to 1984. That was Apple's first WWDC. I always want to say it like it's a wrestling match. That's the Worldwide Developers Conference. And Steve Jobs, that's when he actually introduced the first Mac computer. So the WWDC is all about the software that's going to power the hardware that's going to come out from Apple in the fall. And why the fall? Oh, coinky dinky, just in time for Christmas shopping. Yes. So it's going to be happening on June 5th. And here's what's rumored as to what's going to be dropping. Number one, all the software that's going to power Apple's VR headset. That's right. They've been working on this for so many years. People have been talking about it. Of course, it's going to have a better design than the Oculus or the Meta Quest. The price tag, $3,000. Ooh, that's a lot of money. iOS 17, of course, a tune-up and fixes a whole bunch of problems. Mac OS 14, this is a new operating system to redesign all the system settings on your Mac. And this is going to kill off some older products, like, for example, the iPhone 8, the iPhone 10. Hasta la vista, baby. All right, number 2 on our list, Google promises not to make a mistake on your flight. So, first of all, before we talk about that, Google search results are out this past week as far as where are the big summer vacation destinations. So here's what we're talking about. Number 1 is London, then Cancun, Paris, Orlando, Rome, and New York. Those are expected to be the big summer vacation destinations. So now we all know where not to go, right? But let's talk about Google Flights. Is that when it comes time for your tickets, it's always nerve-wracking because you don't know exactly if you're getting a fair price or a good price. And I've never had the nerve to ask the person next to me, like, so how much was that ticket as compared to my ticket? So Google has come up with a novel idea that they think is going to make everybody go to Google Flights, is that if you book through Google Flights, is that they're going to give you kind of a price guarantee. And if the price goes down before your first flight, you're going to get the money back, the difference in cash, which is actually a pretty good idea. And so how are they able to make this guarantee? Of course, by the algorithms. They're not going to do this on any flight where they know that they're going to lose. But there is the advantage of it going to, say, Expedia or Kayak or one of those other ones, is that with Google, you're actually booking through the airline directly. So when you do this, you know that your airfare may be refundable versus non-refundable if you go to a third-party site. Now, the only airline that's not applicable to this, Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines. You know, it reminds me of a story. Years ago, I was flying on Southwest Airlines when they still served meals. And I remember the flight attendant came over and she's like, will you be eating with us? And I said, well, what are my options? And she looked at me and she said, yes or no. It's like, okay, I was kind of hoping like food choices. Number 3 on our list. Oh, another bad day for Tesla. Your secret is not safe with Tesla. I'm talking about your private recordings. Word out this past week, a big investigation from Reuters that some former Tesla employees say that the videos and recordings from the customer's car cameras from inside the car were actually visible by the Tesla employees. A video of a man coming up to a Tesla in the nude, a kid getting flung up in the air during a bike accident, lots of car crashes, road rage. But there's also some videos that they had intimate moments, right, of people inside their Tesla car. Now, Tesla's privacy notice says your camera's recordings remain anonymous and are not linked to your vehicle. Liar, liar, hair's on fire. Okay, because these former employees say that they could tell the location of the recordings and also where the Tesla owner lived. Not anonymous. So now if you have a Tesla, just know whatever you're doing at a Tesla, maybe the Tesla employees are all taking a sneak peek too. Number 4 on our list is Gen Z is going dumb for a good reason. Gen Z, those folks born from the mid-90s through 2010, they are not obsessing over an iPhone. Believe it or not, they want dumb phones, the generations before the iPhone. They want flip phones, Nokia type phones, because they say that they're just so tired of being tied to this screen all the time. So companies like Puncton Light are the major manufacturers, and they say, again, we just want a phone. We don't want all of this social media. Isn't that interesting? I mean, this generation over anyone else, right? They've grown up with this technology. And now they're saying they just don't want it. And last, this coming in at number 5, the big price for online dating. It's called Tinder Vault. It's a $500 monthly subscription available to anyone so desperate that they're willing to pay it. They say for this $500 a month, you get more profile boosts. So you're going to show up in the feed more for people swiping. You get a personal concierge service for around-the-clock pickup lines. You get a premium passport for Tinder's most elite. $500 a month. Crazy. What did the chess player download? Why did the chess player download Tinder in Prague? Anybody? He was looking for a checkmate. Yeah, that cracked me up too. All right, coming up in our money tip, we're going to tell you how you're wasting money and give you some smart fixes to save on that tech. And we have some new browsers for your phone. And we have all of your phone calls. And you have me, Kim Commando. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. Okay, I have to tell you guys and gals a story. Last July, Congressman Brandon Guffey, he is from South Carolina. Let me tell you, his life, his family's life was changed forever when his 17-year-old son, Gavin, took his life. Gavin fell victim to a cruel sextortion scheme. You know what that is. It entails a scammer asking for some money because they say we have all these compromising photos of you doing something and we're going to release them out into the wild unless you pay us this big ransom. Now, let me tell you, there's a huge trend right now, sextortion, that are targeting specifically boys between the ages of 14 and 17 years old. Congressman, thank you so much for being here. And I know this has to be such an incredible, difficult conversation to have.
Well, I actually have it every day. I wear this pen to actually open up the conversation. And the more people that hear the story, the better, I think the better we are, because hopefully we can save some lives by people understanding exactly what the crime is.
So tell us what happened to Gavin specifically.
July 27th, 22, he got off from playing video games with friends about midnight. Told them that I had asked him to get off, which I did not. And he had received a message from a girl that was at a neighboring college that had mutual friends online. He found her very attractive. They start talking. It wasn't that he sent images. It was actually a video recording. So they got into a private chat where they had video recording. Okay. And little did he know that this was a scammer that was recording the device that they were using, and then used those images to try and blackmail him.
Did he talk to you or your wife about this? Or
well, I'm finding that it's very common with these kids. It's just so much shame. Most of them think that they can take their life and no one ever find out as to why, because they were having these conversations or sharing images on encrypted messages. So the only way that I found out was because the scammer continued to try to extort my 16-year-old, my 14-year-old cousin, and then myself.
Oh, my gosh, you're kidding.
No, all the way up until Gavin died on July 27th. August the 20th would have been his 18th birthday. And I got a message on his 18th birthday that said, "Did I tell you your son begged for his life?" with a laughing face emoji.
Oh my God. How awful. How awful.
Evil.
I mean, that's just evil to do
Yes.
that. So based on that, what has become your life's mission?
I say it all the time whenever I got in politics, and I had talking points and issues, not to say those aren't important, but now I actually have a mission. And that is really to save children from having to deal with this. And as I started digging into this extortion, I found that it's not just teens. Teenage boys are the ones that are getting most of the headlines, but they're doing the same thing to teenage girls, to use those images and those videos to bait the teenage boys. They're using dating sites. They are pretending that, they get someone that's in the dating age, and then they claim that you've contacted someone that's underage, and they'll spoof phone calls. And there's entire call centers set up doing this. It's not like it's one individual.
I always find it astounding that these scammers are so sophisticated that you can go on the dark web and you can download the tools, almost software as a service, like you would get Google Docs, okay, and you pay them a certain amount. And as you astutely mentioned, I don't think a lot of people realize this, is that they have full call centers. I mean, just regular call centers like we used to see in telemarketing days. I mean, and where they field the phone calls and they make the phone calls. Was law enforcement of any assistance?
Yeah, I mean, at the time I was on county council, and I was chair of justice and public safety. So, I have a good relationship with my sheriff. However, it's now progressed to a federal level, and the case is still ongoing. But VPNs make it very difficult. The jurisdictional boundaries, especially whenever you start talking about countries, whether it's countries or states, makes it very difficult.
So are you proposing any type of legislation to
Yes.
combat this problem?
So there's 7 states in the U.S. right now that address sextortion. But I wanted to introduce one in South Carolina because it's not currently against the law. With my bill, what I've done is I've said that if you're an adult targeting a child or an at-risk adult, then you're looking at a 15-year minimum sentence. But as we all know, most of the crimes are not being committed within our own state. So that's not essentially addressing the problem. So we have an additional bill that says that if you are blackmailing someone and it results in death, you will be charged with manslaughter. So that steps it up a little bit. And then we also have an additional bill that is just sharing images without consent, especially that would be embarrassing, you don't necessarily have to blackmail someone, but it really attacks the revenge porn.
Yeah, I've gotten calls over the years about sextortion and various people getting taken on all these scams, and it's nothing compares to the sextortion of a child.
Yes.
And I'm really sorry that this happened to your son. If we have anybody who's listening right now as a parent, what advice would you have for them?
I think the best advice for parents is to not allow your child to have their device in their bedroom or in a bathroom. That if they're going to have devices and be on social media, make sure that it's in public settings, in the family room or outside, but nothing to where they can be completely in private with their phone. I think that stops a lot of it. I don't believe that we're going to be able to tell kids to stop taking pictures as part of their culture. You grew up on Snapchat, creating streaks.
Right.
And that's the way that they have a relationship now. But have that conversation with your kid. Tell them not to share images, but also offer them grace and let them know we're not perfect. None of us are perfect. Right. And that if you make the mistake, that's not something that's worth ending your life. We will address that problem if you make the mistake.
Well, that's really great wisdom, Brandon. I mean, that is, because we always want to have that open door, that communication with our kids, but it kind of crosses the line when they get to be that 16, 17, teenagers, when, sex is kind of a weird topic at that age. We all know it. And to just kind of put it out there, and I love what you said, we all make mistakes. And if you make a mistake, I'm your mom, I'm your dad, I'm here to help, and I can do that. Right. And we can fix this together. Thank you for spending your time with us. And, if there's anything I can do to help you push this forward, just know that I'm 1,000% with you on this.
Thank you so much. A lot of it's just spreading the word so parents and teens can have that conversation. And you're certainly helping me do that. And I appreciate that.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
I'm going to say a prayer for his family. What a tough situation. And if you're so inclined, do it too. Hey, listen, our trivia question of the week is coming up, and this one is a toughie, so be sure you have your thinking cap on. Of course, we have more tips and more of your phone calls that you never, ever want to miss here on the Kim Komando Show. Alrighty, get your brain cells ready for an epic challenge here with Commanding the Tech World Trivia. Now, let me tell you, this is not any ordinary trivia game. You need to put your thinking cap on because you're going to harness the intellect to ace this challenge. And we're super excited to welcome a special guest contestant this week who's going to be trying to get the ultimate prize. It's a Kim Komando Show fanny pack plus a free bag of Dr. Marty's Nature's Blend dog food. And that's a value of $59.95. And joining us here on Commanding the Tech World Trivia is John in beautiful San Antonio, Texas. Hi there, John.
Hi, Kim, and how are you today?
I'm fantastic. So what do you do in San Antonio?
I'm actually retired, and I'm an avid traveler. So I'm getting ready to take a trip soon.
Oh, that's terrific. That's terrific. All right. So we're going to talk about EVs on our trivia, electric vehicles. Okay. Now, official statistics and projections from the U.S. Department of Energy show that despite, the whole country's push for EVs, most of us are still choosing gas-powered cars. And projections are that we're going to continue to buy mostly gas-powered cars, at least until the year 2050. But we're going to go back in time, okay? And I'm going to ask you, what was the first electric car to be mass-produced? The first electric car to be mass-produced, okay? So I'm going to give you 4 options. It's up to you to say which was the first electric car to be mass-produced. Okay, are you ready, John?
Yes, I am.
All right, so was it the Prius? Was it a Tesla Model S? Was it the Columbia or was it the Leaf? Okay, so what was the first electric car to be mass-produced? The Prius, the Tesla Model S, the Columbia, or the Leaf? I know what you're thinking, that it was the Dodge Chargeable, but that's not on the list. Okay? It's the Prius, the Tesla, the Columbia, or the Leaf. So what do you think the answer is?
Well, I've never heard of the Columbia, and I know Tesla came after the market started. I'd say the Prius, the Toyota Prius.
Okay, so John in San Antonio, Texas, is going with his final answer, the Prius. And let's see what the judges say. Oh. No. Okay, here, make another guess. Just make one more guess. The Prius, the Tesla, Columbia, or the Leaf?
The Leaf?
You know what? This was a hard one. I think you're going to win anyway. You're going to win the fanny pack and the Dr. Marty's free food. Okay, because this is a tough one. Because I actually saw this myself, and I thought this is going to make a great trivia question. We have to go back in time for the first mass-produced electric car. It actually happened in 1897. It was astounding to me. It was called the Columbia, and it had a range of 40 to 50 miles on a single charge. It's like, wow. Had no idea that happened.
I learned something today.
Yes. So, and then there was one, then in the year 1900, Lahner Porsche came out with another one that had 50 miles per hour. But so the answer is, hey, Cher, go on Jeopardy, and I know you're going to win there. It's at the 1897 Columbia electric car was the first one. You know, I have to tell you this. I walked into the Tesla car dealership months and months ago, and they said, how can I help you? I said, I'm just wondering how much they charge. And nobody laughed. I was like, get it? Charge? And they're like, sorry. All right, so you're getting ready to go on a trip. Where are you heading this time?
I'm heading to Italy for 2 weeks.
Nice. Nice. Where are you going?
Oh, yeah.
All over?
I'm taking a tour that's going to take me to all the major places in Italy. It's a fast rush-through type of trip, everything from Rome to Naples to Venice to Milan. and hopefully seeing all the big important things.
Well, if you can get to Lake Como, that's pretty amazing.
I'm hoping to get out on a boat ride out there. So
yeah, I did that with my son a couple of years ago. It was so fun, and we went by George Clooney's house there on the lake. And I'm like,
nice.
I was like, George, it's Kim. George, it's Kim. And then, the security guards came out, and Ian's like, okay, come on, Mom, we got to go. So that was it.
Nice.
So how can I help you out today?
Well, with me being an avid traveler like I am and going through airports and hotel rooms, you always see these USB ports all over the place to be able to charge your phone. And recently I was trying to do my due diligence, and I saw a checklist that says never plug your phone in directly because it could possibly have somebody on the other end hacking your data, and that you should only charge your like juice pack or your battery pack through those. Well, I came across looking online, and I found that they actually have these data blockers that you can put on the end of your USB port, so you can plug it in the airport or in a hotel room, and that way they're not able to access your data, even if there is somebody on the other end trying to steal it. And I was just wondering what your take on some technology like that now. Do you think you should do that, or just stay away from them?
Well, if you can stay away from them, that would be the best bet. But it's called juice jacking. And so essentially when you plug your phone in to get some juice is that they're going to jack all your data. And so that's why it's called juice jacking. And so these little data blockers, they sit between the phone and then the power outlet. And it blocks the data from being transferred from the phone. And so they're actually, they're only like $10, $8 or $9. I mean, and there's just this little thing. If you're going to be using a lot of public USB outlets, I would say absolutely 100% that you should just be using one of these. But I try to just make sure that whenever I'm traveling, because I like to travel a lot too, is that I always make sure that I have a really good portable power bank so I don't have to depend upon the outlets in the airport. I don't depend upon the outlet in the plane because 9 times out of 10, that thing just does not work for some reason, unless maybe it's just me, my bad luck. And so, what I carry is what's called an Anchor Power Core. It's $25 and it's not very heavy. It fits in, pocket, purse, backpack, whatever it may be. And it will charge your phone up to 3 times. And they also have other ones that are just a little bit bigger that if you're going to be traveling like with your MacBook or your Windows PC, your Chromebook or whatever, is that can also charge that. So, my best advice is try not to use any USB charging ports anywhere. Try to be your own powerful person and just carry as much power as you need. But if you do need to use them, it's not a bad idea just to pop one of these directly into your travel bag. So in case you do need it, you always have it. There's one in particular that I like. It's made by a company called JSAUX. Hang on the line, John, and we're going to make sure that you pick that one over on Amazon instead of the ones that are there that have horrible reviews, because there are just a ton of them on Amazon. And happy travels to you, John, and thanks for your call today. All right, it's time now for our official money tip. You don't want to miss this one ever. And this week is brought to us by Simply Safe. All right, I want you to look around your house. How much do you think you've spent on gadgets over the years? Yeah, like me, way too much. And so let's talk about some ways that you can save some money. Number one, the problem. Every time a new phone comes out, you're tempted to buy it. Raise your hand. Yes, I am too. But maybe you don't have to. I mean, you can save hundreds of dollars every single year by just using the same phone, right? What you can do is make that old phone feel shiny and new again. And so you're going to clean out the gunk on the inside, and we're going to give you some tips to clean out the inside too. Next, you're searching high and low for coupon codes. Don't do that. Just get Honey. Go to justhoney.com. I use it all the time. And then also you're trying to score deals the wrong way. And maybe you're looking on Craigslist or in Marketplace. What you want to do is check out Amazon Renewed. It's a great place where you can find used gear. A lot of it comes with a little bit of a warranty and guarantee, and a lot of it also has a 90-day money-back guarantee. So those are some good ways where you can save some big bucks on tech. And if you need more information about that, just hit the website at commando.com, and there's a link under Kim's Show. All right, still to come, what about your phone? What type of browser are you using on your phone? Maybe you could be using a better browser. We have more of your phone calls and that coming up that you don't want to miss. Becky in Atlanta, Georgia.
Well, I work in a interior shutter manufacturing company. I manage the office. So one of the things I do is oversee with it being a small company, I just oversee everything sort of in the office. So one of the things is the cell phone bill, and it has, 12, 14 cell numbers on it. So a couple of months ago, my coworker, who has one of those lines, called me and he said, "Hey, my phone stopped working." And he said, "I was just using it and it stopped working." So he contacted the carrier, Verizon, and they said, your cell phone number, your line has been ported away from the account. It just happened.
Oh, no, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's
and
awful.
He said as soon as he got some information from the cell phone company, and he had an app on his phone for Coin Wallet. And as soon as the phone was ported, within minutes, his cryptocurrency was wiped out.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. It is. And so what did the carrier say?
Well, the carrier said that Martin had called in and requested the port. And, of course, we know Martin didn't do that. Martin's line was the one that was stolen. So someone somehow was able to get that port authorized. And
then basically got a copy of everything that he has on the phone. That's what happened.
Yeah,
and
probably got the two-factor authentication codes and all that.
Yeah, and that's a complete nightmare. And I'm so glad that you called, Becky, to tell me this story, because you have to set up this extra layer of security. And you have a PIN number, but you actually want to make sure that you put a password under what's called port validation. I think the carrier should be required that you put a password there, but it's optional for some reason. I don't get it. Okay? So in your online account settings, is that what you do is you want to go through and see how you set up what's called a port validation password or PIN number. Because as you mentioned, is that, the two-factor authentication, that goes directly to the phone. And then guess what? The criminals have everything that they need to go into any one of your accounts at that point, because think about everything that you have on your home. Now, Verizon does have a free app called Verizon Identity. And did Verizon tell you about this at all?
Oh, no. They have been forthcoming with very much information at all. I have no confidence that we're any safer after this has happened than we were before.
Okay, well, first of all, with every phone, because like you mentioned, you're a small business, you're running a lot of different things. Now you have to be an expert in phone security too, right? You're like, wait, what happened to this? Okay. Verizon has different levels of service. Make sure that you are a Verizon business account, because this way you get discounts. But in addition to that, you normally get like a rep that will actually help you out, because you're. I mean, with all these lines, you should be a business, be one of their business accounts. But this Verizon app called Identity, it gives you additional layers of security for push notifications or pins or certain actions. But what we need to do is make sure that you have a password on this port request, because that should never, ever happen again. One of the things that may have happened to Martin, and I'm not sure, is that, maybe when he was moving so quickly on his phone, getting things done, that he may have gotten some type of phishing scam. And it could have been a phone call, an email, or a text message claiming to be from Verizon and asking him to do these certain steps. And at that point, that's when the scammers, the hackers, the criminals, whatever you want to call them, that's when they were able to kind of step in there and then take that phone away from him, and also all of his cryptocurrency, because he had that saved on his phone too. So once again, Becky, thank you so much for bringing this important security issue up. And again, it's called a port validation password or PIN. And in your cellular account, the app, just make sure that you have that set up. And Becky, Thank you for your call today. You know, if you are managing a lot of phones, one of the things that you might want to think about is start looking at MDM software. A new acronym, MDM, Mobile Device Management. And what it does, it will help you track phone usage, set limits, and remotely wipe these devices if necessary. A couple of names is JamF Pro, Mobile Iron, and also Saudi Mobile Control. We have links to these over on the website, by the way. All right, let's talk about the browser next that you're using on your phone. Is there a better browser that's more privacy-focused? So, let's start with Mozilla's Firefox. The smartphone version is just lightning fast. You can browse the web privately. It blocks third-party tracking cookies by default. And if you use Firefox on your PC or laptop, it's kind of a no-brainer that it's a natural for your phone because everything just syncs up so nicely. Next up, both the Brave browser and Google Chrome browser have incognito mode, bookmarks, and security features. And Brave will block most of the ads on web pages too, but be a good internet user and whitelist sites so this way we can all pay our bills. And then there's the underdog, Ecosia. It has a slew of privacy and security features, but any money that they make, they spend on planting trees. And they say right now they've planted over 130 million trees. You can find links to all these browsers over at Komando.com. And I want you to do me a solid, do me a favor. Tell at least 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show and the Kim Komando Tape podcast because every single person needs more tech smarts. And, you know, knowledge is power. You can find me 24/7 at the site. That's Komando.com with a K.
It's the Kim Komando Show podcast for the weekend of April 8th, 2023. Hey, thanks for listening. Here's hour 3.
You know, I always like to begin the show with something interesting. Now, Elon Musk's Tesla, they cut prices on its entire U.S. EV model lineup for the 3rd time this year. Wow, the 3rd time this year. We're only into April. Now, some models are down by 1,000. Other models are down by 5,000. So why are they cutting the price of the Tesla? Well, they say that the factories just are not running at capacity. People aren't buying Teslas like everyone thought that they would. Let me tell you, I owned a Tesla for about, 2 weeks. No, actually almost 2 months. And it was just shoddy. And that FSD, full self-driving, if I relied on that full self-driving, I would not be here right now. I tried it. I almost ran into a truck. It blew through a stop sign. I mean, maybe Tesla needs to think outside the box for revenues, like selling a men's cologne and calling it Elon's Musk. Ooh, that would work, right? And on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, America's largest show about all things digital. I am, of course, Kim Komando, your beloved digital goddess, here with you once again. And get ready to level up your tech smarts because let's face it, every single thing is a tech thing. And you can find us on over 425 top stations throughout the United States, and we're streaming in your favorite radio app. And you can also find us as a podcast, as a webcast 24/7 over at getkim.com, and it's all commercial free. And a special hello to our listeners in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries who are joining us on the American Forces Network Radio. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. All right, every single day, even on the weekends, I visit at least 30 different sites to make sure that I'm up to date on all things digital so that I can make sure that you're up to date on all things digital. And this is part of the show where I like to talk about the numbers. And our first number, it's $2. $2. Okay. Summer's around the corner. Maybe you're going to be visiting one of our great national parks. And this means that your trip, well, it's going to be part of a big payday for a firm called Booz Allen Hamilton Incorporated. What does Booz Allen Hamilton Incorporated have to do about it? Well, that parking pass is free, but if you want to reserve, you have to pay that $2 fee. So where do you think your $2 is going from? Okay, I mean, maybe it's part of the whole government thing. You just give them $2 and then they put it towards the national parks. No. You're sending a piece of the pie to Booz Hamilton Incorporated for making the reservation. And the national parks, of course, are kept up with your tax dollars. Now, Booz, that whole firm, runs recreation.gov. You'd think that the government ran recreation.gov. No, they parsed it out. Somebody else does. It has a 5-year contract that's up for renewal. The Wall Street Journal says that Booz Allen used data provided by the government to estimate that over the first 5 years of the contract that they got $87 million. $87 million. That's how much Booz Allen got. You think for that, we could develop our own website? Gosh, and you thought that all the money that you were paying were going back to the parks. Not so much. Number 2 on our list of 5 things is, do you have any Splenda, please? Can I have some of that? What's the average salary for a waiter in the United States? Anyone? $29,000. Now, what if we replace that waiter with a robot from Bellabot? $15,000 with a battery and a 1-year warranty. So restaurants are now looking at saying, well, maybe we don't need humans. Maybe we just need robots because they can deliver orders and drinks for up to 4 tables at once, and you don't need to tip them. That's a little bit of a plus. In an interview with the AP, restaurant owner Ziza bought a few for his restaurant in Michigan, and one robot takes the diners to the seats. Another one delivers the food. They also have robots that wash the dishes. He only needs 3 people in his restaurant right now, and the robots do the rest. He used to have one person that would cost anywhere between $5,000 and $6,000 a month. Remember, that robot is a $15,000 one-time fee. People say that being a waiter is a bad job, but, I say, hey, you know what? It puts food on the table, right? Sometimes I crack myself up. Number 3 on our list, 2.2 billion people on airplanes. Yes. And do you ever think about the real reason why that you need to put your phone into airplane mode when you get on the airplane? You ever think about that? Well, let's see. In 2021, 2.2 billion passengers rode on an airplane, and I would guess that most of them probably didn't put their phones into airplane mode. And what is the problem with it? The wireless network that your phone uses is the same one that the plane uses. And they're concerned that if everybody starts getting on their phone on the Wi-Fi, that the pilots and the plane's navigation systems get overloaded, and then it's just going to eventually cut off. Well, let me tell you something. If you're in the aerospace industry, you should have fixed this by now, okay? We've had phones prevalent since at least the iPhone in 2007, so let's get it in gear, okay? Next on our list, number 4, 12 years. 12 years. Remember that number, 12 years. Because all of the new cars right now are coming up with these outrageous subscriptions. Okay, Mercedes is charging their EV owners $1,200 a year as a subscription to go 1 second faster. Okay, BMW is charging $8 a month so that you can auto dim or brighten the headlights. $8 a month. Toyota charges $80 a year so that you can remotely start your car. Wow. Now, what if you're in the market for a used car? That 12 number I was mentioning, that's how old the average used car is right now. But here's what's happening, is that GM is reaching out to secondhand owners of cars to get them hooked on these subscription services. If you have a Volkswagen, listen to the audacity of this. They're going to put an ad right in the dash saying, hey, thanks for buying this used Volkswagen. If you want to get some of these services, you could just give us your credit card right now. So if you're buying a used car, just make sure that you know what you get and what you don't get. And last, this coming in at number 5, 10. He's been dead for 10 years. There's a man whose voice you might recognize. Here, let's just take a listen to a small clip of him.
In the claustrophobic atmosphere of Washington, anything seemed possible. And Jefferson, who liked to cultivate the air of a philosopher who was above the merely political, found himself in a struggle to secure his own election and, in his mind, rescue the nation from the allegedly monarchical
Do you know who the guy is? His name is Edward Herman, and aside from being a really great character actor, he's one of the most popular narrators ever. He's been the voice of the History Channel, so many Ken Burns documentaries. Now, he's never been more popular than ever than he is right now. But here's the surprise. Edward Herman's been dead for about 10 years. His family gave a company called Deep Zen the license to use his voice for audiobook narration. Of course, they're getting all kinds of royalties from it. So, remember that clip we just played? Now, I want you to listen to AI's version of him.
In the claustrophobic atmosphere of Washington, anything seemed possible. And Jefferson, who liked to cultivate the air of a philosopher who was above the merely political, found himself in a struggle to secure...
Can't even tell the difference. I accidentally deleted an audiobook that I was listening to, and I'll never hear the end of it. Oh, yes. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about how you can get the fastest internet connection ever where you live, no matter where you live. And we've got some great tips about how to make your PC or Mac start up faster and how you can share your location on Google Maps and a whole bunch more here on The Kim Komando Show. All right, let's start with Judy in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Hi. In 2003, I had the opportunity to be co-pilot of a World War II trainer plane, and
how fun!
I know, and they presented me with the photos or video on a 3.5-inch diskette, and nobody has diskette readers anymore. And I'd like to find out if you know how, or have the means or the name of a place I could send it, and they could retrieve the information that's on the diskette.
It's fun. Did you just run across the diskette when you were cleaning up?
I've had it for years and just kept moving it from place to place. And then finally I came across the idea of maybe Kim knows how to, what company to send it to, or I'd love to see the photos because we did some fun aerobatics like barrel rolls and stuff like that. So
how fun. That's so fantastic. And I'd love for you to be able to relive these great memories. You got a couple of ways to do it. Number one is that, believe it or not, you can still buy a 3.5-inch floppy disk drive. Yes, right? They sell them on Amazon. They're about $18 and they work via USB. And so they'll connect right up to your laptop. And then you could just put in the disk. And then you can just transfer that information just right over. And they sell for about, I don't know, $15, $17, somewhere in that range. So it's relatively inexpensive. Now, if the diskette is damaged or maybe the footage has degraded over time, that's when you might want to look at a transfer service. And like, for example, there's Legacy Box, there's iMemories, there's Scan Cafe. We'll send you a list of these that may also, that you basically mail them the disk and then for whatever they're charging these days, they put the video up in the cloud or in the photos up in the cloud, and then you get it back. I have used iMemories and both Legacy Box to get some, what I would say, older materials and media and bring it into the digital age, and both of these did a fabulous job. But hang on the line, Judy. So we're going to send you a link to that floppy disk drive and then these other companies. Does that help you out today?
Sure, yes. And I'll probably take the awesome. Least expensive option just because I would only get one use out of that diskette drive.
Yeah, that's probably true. So you probably just want to mail it off to somebody. But it's always good to know that option is there for you, especially if you ever have any old data disk laying around. You're like, hey, what the heck was on that? Well, there's always a way. There's normally a way, rather, I should say, to connect that drive up to a relatively modern laptop by just using the USB drive. Judy, thank you so much for your call. Oh, floppy disks. Those were the good old days, said no one ever, right? Thank you. Jeff in Jacksonville, Florida.
Well, first, I just want to tell you I appreciate what you do, and I appreciate how you break everything down for everybody.
I'm not good at a lot of things, but this is a thing I don't know, I just have a knack for it. It's always been that way. And so pretty blessed in finding a career path that I really like.
Awesome. Yeah. So my question for you was, we went on a trip a week or so ago to Cedar Key, Florida. And the day after we got there, I received a text from an unknown phone number. Well, actually, I don't even think it had a phone number, but and it said, "How is Cedar Key? Quite a nice place. Just checking in with you guys." And so, what I'm trying to figure out is how this person may have gotten my phone number and definitely my location.
Yeah, a ton of ways. Did you reply to the text and say, "Hey, who are you"?
I did not. I didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Something like that is, it's harmless. How did you get me? Who are you? Type of thing. But if you didn't want to reply to it, if you don't want to reply to it, there are all kinds of ways that people can get your phone number. It could have been from the booking. It could have been if you paid for anything using Square, or something even at a farmer's market that you guys were running around, or at the Bay or wherever you are at. It's not like somebody has malware. I think it's just a coincidence. And the coincidence is because you were traveling and you were there at Cedar Key, and that somebody there, you had some interaction with somebody there or making that booking that would be able to get your cell phone number in order to say that, we were just checking in to see how the vacation's going.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is I didn't use my phone for the booking. My wife booked everything. And then I don't think I did anything with my phone while I was there other than text with, people I know.
Were your location services on?
Yes.
Okay, well then that could be a clue.
Yeah, I figured that might play into it for sure. But
that's something that you interacted with at some point, knew that you were in Cedar Key, Florida. And just for my own curiosity, I would have responded to the guy and say, hey, or say, what's up? Who are you? Why are you contacting me?
Yeah.
But if you don't, but I wouldn't be worried about this type of intrusion. You actually sent me an email, and I looked up the domain where that text came from. And when you go over there, it looks like one of these old websites from like the 1990s, doesn't it? It's like, whoa, where you can tell, but you have to know somebody's carrier, and then you know their phone number, and then, and then you can send them a text message. So there could also be somebody who that just went to that website, put in your phone number and knows your carrier, and then said, we're just checking in with you guys. So that could also be a possibility, because that's this site. Now, this site that I mentioned, you could go there and you can block your phone number from any future text messages from there. But I wouldn't be worried about some malicious character or actor getting into my phone because I got this weirdo text about, how is Cedar Key? It's a nice spot, and just checking in with you guys. There's some type of connection between the person who sent that text and you. And, I haven't called the psychic hotline in a long time, so I can't help you figure all this one out. But I wouldn't worry about it too much, Jeff. And I hope you guys had a great time, and thanks for your call. Hey, guys, we have his cell phone number. What we should do is text him right now and say, hey, you were just talking to the great Kim Komando. And why weren't you dressed better for that occasion? That would totally flip the guy out, right? Hey, stay right where you are. We have more phone calls, tips, tricks, and secrets you don't want to miss here on the Kim Komando Show. All right, coming up, we've got a tip about how you can get the fastest internet connection ever where you live. And also later on, some really insider secrets to make your PC or Mac just start up faster. And before we get to all of that, joining us here on the Kim Komando Show is our amazing content queen, Allie Seligman. Hello there, Allie.
Hi, Kim.
We talk a lot about every single day what's going on in the news. And it seems like lately there's been a trend, Al, with these pranks, right? What's going on? You know what one of the earliest pranks was ever? The internet pranks? It was the Bill Gates email beta test. It was in 1994, and it tricked people into thinking that they were testing a new email system from Microsoft, but it was just a spammer's way of collecting email addresses.
Oh my gosh! Okay. Well, we've come a long way from that, haven't we?
Yeah. Well, then we had the saltine cracker challenge, where you had to eat 6 saltines, right, and then try to talk. The salt and ice challenge. Oh, the cinnamon challenge.
Oof. Did you ever do that?
No. I'm not really good at challenges like this with my body. It's tough. But there's been kind of a trend where they're getting more and more dangerous, aren't they?
They really are, because I think part of it is we kind of get desensitized, right, to these things. Watching someone eat some crackers is not as exciting as it used to be. And so people keep kind of ramping up how aggressive in some cases these pranks are. And, I kind of say pranks with finger quotes because a lot of these don't feel like pranks anymore. It's just people doing really dangerous stuff. In a lot of cases, just because they want to get views online.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's just because they want to get the likes, they want to get the attention on social media, they want to go viral.
Yes.
And so the one that really strikes me that we talked about in our conversation alone this past week was the mom in Target.
Oh, my gosh.
That's just awful.
Just picture this. So this woman, she just had twin baby boys, I think about 8 months ago. She's walking around Target. And Kim, you know this as a mom, she was having this like, oh, I'm free. I get to just be hanging out at Target, feeling good. So she's standing there looking at baby clothes. And then all of a sudden it's dark. Somebody, like a group of 4 teenage boys came in and they were trying to do, it's called like the bucket challenge, where you grab a literal bucket or other, something else like that, and you shove it on someone's head and then you film the reaction. What they didn't know, this woman was a cancer survivor, and because of complications with her cancer, she has epilepsy. So she fainted, she hit her head, she very likely had, at least a minor seizure. These kids are just trying to, we're just making content, right? But this woman got really hurt. She's, still recovering in the hospital. So really scary stuff.
Did they file any charges against these kids?
From what I saw, they weren't able to find them. It didn't seem like they, took them into custody. It was, I imagine they saw what happened and got the heck out of there.
Yeah, they probably did. Well, maybe with all the cameras inside and outside of Target.
Yeah.
At some point, they'd be able to find these. I don't even want to say pranksters.
Right? I feel like we need a different word.
Yeah. I mean, a prank is where you put ketchup instead of mustard someplace or something dumb like that.
A whoopee cushion.
Yes,
pranks
like
should be,
whoopee cushion.
Funny and fun. And maybe somebody gets a little embarrassed, but people shouldn't get hurt. And they shouldn't end in really scary ways. You probably heard about this one. I know you did, Kim. The YouTuber, his name is Tanner. He's got one of those prank channels. And, they range from things that are kind of on maybe just the silly or annoying end. Him and his friends dressed up as clowns and they rode around a grocery store on scooters. Okay, fine. In some cases, they do things where they're really starting to annoy people, right? There's one where they went through PetSmart and kept going up to people and saying, "Did you steal that animal?" So, people get a little bit frustrated, sometimes call the police on them. He went to the mall, and it's unclear what he was doing, what the prank was. But he went up to a guy, and the guy pulled out a gun and shot him. He didn't die. He's in the hospital right now. But, it doesn't always just end with laughs, or it doesn't end with someone just being annoyed at you or calling the police. It can end with actually getting shot, which is a really scary thing.
Or what about the kids that are doing some of these challenges? I mean, it pains my heart every time I see a pre-tween, teen, whatever it is, trying to gather some attention by doing one of these challenges.
Yeah, the blackout challenge is probably the best example of this. It's hard to have exact numbers. From what I've seen, at least 20 kids have died from this one. It's essentially self-asphyxiation. So it's make yourself pass out to see if you can do it, right? And it's a really scary thing because these kids don't realize they see everybody else doing it. The people probably just come to right after, and they don't realize this is incredibly dangerous. Sometimes they are tying things over their faces. Sometimes they're using, things like rope, and it goes badly. And a lot of kids have died this way. And, it's certainly an accidental thing. This is not, these are not suicide cases. These are kids who just don't know what they're doing, and they go too far.
Yeah. And, so Utah's trying to pass some laws right now.
Yeah.
That are going to basically make these social media outlets to be more responsible and to put controls around the kids. It's not going to work.
Of course it's not going to work.
No. I mean, because, the kids are going to run. And, the bottom line here is that parents just need to be involved. And I know it's a pain in the neck. It is. Because when my mother passed away, I became the family matriarch. Thank you. Okay. And that means I'm hearing all the stories with all the kids.
Yeah.
And
Kim, what do we do?
Yes. Yeah. And it's you just have to have eyes. You used to say like, oh, I need eyes in the back of my head. Well, you need eyes in the front of your head, the back of your head, and anywhere that they're doing anything on social media, because you don't want to be that mom or dad. You don't want to be that statistic.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think is the best way for people to, if especially like younger kids, I think generally in these older cases, it's people who they want to be famous online. They want to have all this recognition. They want to go viral. These younger kids that see that stuff and then think, oh, me too, and then get really hurt or, even can die in some cases. I would imagine that's really where like parents be involved. Talk to your kids about this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can put on the parental controls.
Sure.
And we get those calls here on the show. We get emails, requests all the time. We talk about it.
Yeah.
And we have the free tech contract over at commando.com/contract. So this way you can deal with the kids. But I'll tell you, it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Because you have to be right on top of it. You've got to be right on top of them. And a lot of parents just aren't that active. Because I can tell you, Al, I thought I did. Before I became a mom, I thought that like mothers took care of their kids. Okay. And so as Ian was growing up, I was like, the den leader, and somehow as a Boy Scout leader, which is like, I don't know how that happened. But, there were parents that just didn't care. And I'd have to pick them up. I mean, I'd have to pick up the phone and say, it's 5:00. You were supposed to be here at 4:00. Oh, God, I forgot. Or, you're supposed to do this. I had one father come up to me, this is just on a total side note, came up to me and we were doing, at the Home Depot, you could get like little kits and we were making like tool chests out of wood. Guy comes up to me and he says, I'm not going to tell you the kid's name. You know what? We think he's gay. And that's why we have him in Scouts. Because we're hoping that you're such a strong figure that you'll be able to change that.
Oh,
because,
my gosh.
Because we really don't want that in our family. And I looked and I said, that's not my job. Okay? That's just, I said, I'm happy that he's in Scouts. And I don't care if he's gay or not. Doesn't matter to me. And if that's an issue for you, you got to take that someplace else.
Jeez.
But anyway, so you have all different levels of parenting is I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so, and so parents always want to point that finger towards social media when really they got to point the finger back and to really pay attention because it's not going to stop. It's only going to get worse. Right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just it is. So the bottom line here is you got to watch your kids, folks. That's it. There's nothing we can do about it. If you want that tech contract, head over to commando.com/contract. Something for you to deal with your kids. Allie, thanks for being here. It's a tough topic, but from time to time, I know we always like to talk about, these happy tips and things like that. But every once in a while, we just got to say, hey, folks, this is the bottom line here.
Important stuff.
If you've got kids, grandkids, and if you need help with tracking down any of this stuff, just let us know. Thanks, Al.
Thanks.
All right. You got slow internet and you want it faster. I know. We all have this need for speed. So in this tip, we put together some ways that you can get 1 gig or 2 gig plans. Yes, I said 1 or 2 gigs. A lot of it depends on where you live. Like, for example, Google Fiber, they have 1 gig at $70 a month, another one at $100 a month. That's 2 gig. And then we're going to tell you exactly what the difference is. And the difference is really speed. Like, for example, the time to download a 2.5-hour movie, 2.4 minutes on 1 gig, 1 minute on 2 gigs. Wow. So if Google Fiber is not available in your hometown, then you can check out AT&T Fiber. They have 5 gig service, which is really amazing. It's about $200 a month. Again, we're going to tell you where you can find that. And finally, there's Comcast Xfinity, a gigabit 2X plan. And we've got all the details over on the website at commando.com. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls and a great tip on how to make your PC or Mac start faster here on the Kim Komando Show. Charles in Toledo, Ohio, welcome.
Hey, Kim. Thanks for taking my question. And side note, if I could, real quick, I wanted to mention I I went to a doctor the other day, and I asked him about whenever I'm in my car, if I go underground, like especially through a tunnel, long bridges, or anything like that, I'm always okay unless I have a passenger or multiple passengers with me. He told me that I have carpool tunnel syndrome. Now, if you still want to help me after that, I am looking for a Android, probably Samsung, but we use sometimes we switch from. We don't always use the Samsung phones, just usually, but all the phones that we do use are Android based. Some sort of like the Apple tracker, but obviously the Apple tracker won't work with the Samsung. So I just didn't know. I've seen a million of them out there. I just didn't know if there's any way other than to scroll through the countless reviews to know which one might be a good one, and hopefully to not spend like $100 a month on the services. Well, just wanted your opinion on that.
The trackers are, believe it or not, there are no monthly fees associated, like, for example, with the Apple AirTag. You buy the tracker. In the case of an AirTag, it's $30, or you can buy four of them for $89 at Costco. If you're looking for the cheapest price, that seems to be where it is. And then the battery lasts for about 2 years, and then you just replace the battery. And when the battery is running out, like, for example, I got a notification on my phone this morning that said the AirTag on my bike is almost running out, so I need to replace that. Which I'm like, okay. So, it's actually these really handy reminders. And what's nice is that these trackers are so small, you can put them anywhere. Now, as far as, if you're not playing in the Apple ecosystem, then you're right, like the AirTag. No AirTag for you, right? Okay. So then you're looking at the Tile trackers. And that would probably be the most comparable, about the same price. They work the same way. And as long as the, Bluetooth is in range, and then it also works on bouncing different connections off each other. So that's why, it's interesting that you could know, like, where an AirTag is located, even if you're not there. Like, for example, I have some cars in storage, and so I get an alert anytime that car is moved. And so they're really fabulous trackers. I mean, I have them on my dog, like my bike, in my cars, on my keychains, in my wallet. For my husband, Barry, he's got it on his Kindle, on his MacBook, anything that the guy owns, basically, because I got tired of him saying, like, have you seen my fill in the blank? You know what I mean? It's like, it gets very, very tiresome. So just take a look at the Tile trackers. And, Samsung has their own trackers. But, if you're going to, like you said, like you bounce back and forth. I think if you're not going to stick in the Apple camp, then I think Tile trackers are the next best thing out there. And, they have all the holders for them, too. So if you want to put it on your dog, or if you want to connect it to something else, you can find holders for just about anything. Even necklaces, they can put them on over for sale on Amazon, of course. Charles, thank you so much for the joke, the carpool tunnel joke. Yes, and thanks for your call. Hey, speaking of finding things, just want to remind you that if you're on Android, Find My Device, super handy, so you can always find that device. And you can also erase data if you, lose it or somebody steals it. And if you're on Samsung, they have a similar one called Find My Mobile. Once again, that's Find My Mobile for Samsung, or Find My Device over on Google. And of course, if you're on Apple, we have Find My for just about everything. Hey, if you're not getting our official newsletters, join over 400,000 folks who do every single day, and they are brand new, they are fresh. And so if you dropped our newsletters because you didn't like them because there were too many ads and just didn't seem worthwhile, well, now's the time to come back to us. That's commando.com/subscribe. It's all new. Everybody loves them. Commando.com/subscribe. All right, your computer shouldn't take more than just a few minutes to start. If you're sitting there, getting frustrated, you need to take some action. So let's start with Windows. They have a nifty setting called Fast Startup. Think of it as a scaled-down hibernation mode. It's under the power options. Next, you want to get rid of anything that runs when you actually start up your PC, those apps and programs. It's all in the startup folder. Just turn off anything you don't want to open at startup. Now for our Mac friends, you're definitely going to want to stop programs and apps from starting when your Mac does too. The easiest and simplest way to do this is just to right-click on Programs on the dock, and under Options, remove the check mark next to Open at Login, and that's all there is to it. Hey, whenever you're looking for great content on the go, we have our daily podcast, our Daily Tech Update, and Kim Komando today. And they're just perfect for those walks or strolls, or maybe you're just getting some work done around the house. So just search for my last name, Commando, with a K, wherever you get your podcast. And while you're there, be sure that you give us a great review, and you can find me always at commando.com.